To this day, I'm committed to faithfulness to the church because the church really was faithful to me and to my family. I'm also a strong advocate for public education for every child. In Mason City, the high school had about 1,100 students of all socioeconomic classes together, and we received an education no matter our background, and a fine education. Friends gave me a ride to school, or we walked. In fact, we walked a lot in this small city of 30,000, to school, to work. I later worked at the rug and lamp department of Damon's department store. Or we walked to the summer band concerts. When in school, the education received stimulated our minds. I don't recall ever feeling put down. I always felt that I was called to learn and learn as much as I could. In fact, in American history class, when I was a junior, the teacher helped all of us work through the whole year to work on a term paper, a research paper. And so I and a number of others wrote over a 100-page term paper as juniors in high school. This one was the literary works which have influenced American culture. We had our pictures in the newspaper. Academics were important. And actually, after that, writing a paper like that in high school, I was never intimidated to write term papers in college or a dissertation. And music. Although we could no longer afford music lessons, the high school choir provided a wonderful music education, as well as singing in church. And journalism. We had a high school class on journalism, and there I learned the basics of writing I use to this day. Worked on the school newspaper, and also on the school yearbook. Now, lest you think I was always this good girl, I have to tell you a story of one time I got into trouble. I was a junior and copy editor on the yearbook, and the staff read the fine print of the contract with the publisher very carefully. And in it said that after the yearbook went to press, all of the pictures had to be destroyed. And so when the yearbook came out, our staff went out behind the school and in this tin barrel, put all of the work for the year and had this wonderful celebratory fire. Well, the next morning we were called into the principal's office. It seems that the local newspaper and the yearbook company had this informal agreement that they could use the senior class pictures and put them in the newspaper, something the community looked forward to every year. This year there would be no seniors in the newspaper. But the senior class survived, and so did the community, and I guess I did too, because the next year Gary True and I were co-editors of the yearbook. That year, the teacher who was to work with us didn't care much about our activities, and so we just went ahead and gathered pictures, got stories, did all the business, sold ads, sold the yearbooks, made arrangements. I think it was that year that I learned to really be engaged in collaborative, collegial leadership, and simply to take a job and do it. Meanwhile, church continued to have an important role in my life. I was probably there 3 nights a week, singing in choir. We had 5 choirs in this church of 800 people. And the choir director, Mrs. Hinz, invited me to teach one of the children's choirs, as well as to teach Sunday school. Walther the youth group, was also important, and we grew in leadership skills as we had this program of worship, education, service, fellowship, and recreation. Journalism, music, academics, church, all of those helped shape and form me, and I fully enjoyed those years in Mason City. In our class of 350 at the high school, I was the top 4-point student, along with Chuck Fromm and David Gibbs. And that was the first year they had National Merit Scholarships. And 3 of us, Brian Brunsvold, Andy Peck, and I, were National Merit Scholarship runner-ups. And I also remember that 3 of us, James Dean and Mike McCauley and I, were the graduation speakers. Now I say all of that because in each of those, I was the only girl, but I never had any doubt that a girl could achieve. Somehow, all my girlfriends of Nancy Mullen and Stephanie Price and Sue Penny, all of these wonderful women could grow and achieve along with the guys. Boys and girls, young men and young women together could all achieve and be upheld and supported for that achievement. Just 6 years after the death of my father, this lonely little girl who never finished 6th grade had now grown. By God's grace through the church and the school and loving community and family, I was growing into the adult that I would be. That summer, I had the opportunity to attend the International Walther League Convention, which was being held in Ames, Iowa, not far from Mason City. I was there, and actually there'd been a friend of mine, Gloria was her name, who had moved from Mason City the year before to Las Vegas, Nevada. And she would be attending that international convention. It was the last day of the convention when I thought, maybe I should, there are a couple of 2,000 kids there, maybe I should try to go over the Las Vegas delegation and see if I could find Gloria. I almost didn't, but I did. I went over and found her, and in our conversation, she said she was going to come back to Mason City that summer, and she was going to hope that she would meet up with a guy that she had met through Walther League in California. She did come, and actually it was that summer then, in the basement of Bethlehem Lutheran Church, that I met Burton Everist. I wrote this poem in 1997, Early Morning Walks. I miss taking walks with my father. Now that I am the age when I wake early dawn, summer dawn, I take long walks during the cool of the day. My father woke early, smoked a Camel, read the paper. I don't know what he thought about. I wasn't allowed to get up that early. 47 years ago he died. Before I was yet a woman, he was still my daddy. I don't know what we would have talked about should we have taken long walks at dawn. We live at different times, in different worlds, having different conversations. I don't so much miss him as miss never having had him to talk together on early morning walks at dawn. It's silent, and so it is, so silent. That was long ago. Would we know each other now? Would we walk together? I have no idea. Yes, I think so. I think we would have walked, perhaps silently together, some early days at dawn. And so I'd rather be alone, at least for this morning hour. The rest of my day is so blessedly full of people, ideas, creativity, responsibility. I run always 3 things at once. Why the hurry? Why the hurry? Like some unknown race to complete the course he didn't. But who set the course? I have no idea. So I must walk and enjoy the gait. 2 days before he died, I noticed how he walked. And I thought, I shall learn to walk like he walks. But that was just a glance at my father 47 years ago.